When you hear that a film is being made that is 180 pages long with very few actors in it, written in 3 acts by Aaron Sorkin, being directed by Danny Boyle with Michael Fassbender playing the lead, you do everything you can to get yourself cast in that movie. I was very excited by, quite honestly, I think the whole package of what it was. I knew the writing was going to be incredible. I knew that it would be thrilling to work with Danny, who I'd never worked with before. The idea of standing in the same room with Michael Fassbender was enough to make me want to faint, let alone work with him. And also I was intrigued by the notion that this wasn't a biopic, and it really isn't. It doesn't focus on his illness. It really only features one member of his family, his daughter Lisa, and it covers 3 specific periods in his life, covering the launch of 3 different products during his working life. I knew it would be very unusual, and to play a woman who I'd never heard of, and actually most people will never have heard of Joanna until this film comes out, but she really was like his work wife, and very influential in terms of how he functioned as a person, how he dealt with the people around him day to day. She really made him toe the line and helped him in a way to be the best version of himself that he could be in terms of personal relations. So the film is written in 3 acts, really like a play, and each act is pretty much 45 minutes thereabouts of continuous real time backstage prior to the moment of the launch of a new product. So it's a very heightened pressure cooker type atmosphere that is created by the intensity of the writing and the pace at which the story is being told. And it's just very cleverly done, because as an audience member, you feel a part of it. You feel present. You feel that you're backstage with those people. You feel as excited and nervous as they are to walk on that stage and launch this product. He just took it all on. He just handled it all. He was the right balance of utterly terrified and completely determined at the same time. You know, no actor is free of nerves ever. I would hope not. And I really do mean this. I have never seen an actor conduct themselves in a more professional way than Michael did. And no fuss, you know, he just knuckled down. He had his own strange system of how he went about things. He didn't particularly want help after hours with running lines. I would often say to him, listen, I'm happy to meet up. We could just run a bunch of dialogue. And no, it's okay. He would just do it his own way. And I'll never forget a profound moment, actually. We all came into the rehearsal room having filmed Acts 1 and 2 to start rehearsals for Act 3. And we had a cold table read. Everyone sat around the table, and every single actor, myself included, had our scripts in front of us. Michael didn't even get his out of his bag. And it was only because he knew all his lines, and he wanted to prove to himself that he'd nailed it. And that's a real actor. You know, he was not only setting the bar incredibly high for all of us, but he was doing as much as he could to cement his own confidence in playing that role and making the choices that he wanted to make. So Joanna's constant managing of Steve really did come from a place of genuinely wanting him to just stop, calm down, take a breath, and be real, which often wasn't his strong point. And she really did manage him, and he really couldn't cope without her so often. The one thing I will say that set Joanna and Steve's relationship apart from all his other working relationships was that she didn't need anything from him. And I would say that the majority of the people working with him, they needed something from Steve, whether it was that paycheck or whether it was to work their way higher up the ladder, to learn from him, to gain from his success, to ride on his coattails, whatever it was. Joanna genuinely didn't need any of those things. And it's quite remarkable how I think that changes the central dynamic of their relationship, because she could just be utterly honest with him. She never felt threatened by him. She never felt that her job was in jeopardy. She just wanted for him to be the best version of himself as a person, as a man, and as a father that he could possibly be. And that, I think, is what makes their relationship feel very warm and quite profound, actually. I really hope it will surprise people. I mean, Seth is brilliant anyway. As we know, Seth is a genius. Seth is hilarious. Seth is, you know, the reason that my children are begging me to let them watch Pineapple Express. You know, Seth is untouchable. There is no one like him. You know, you really can't compare him to any other actor out there. Certainly no other actor of comedic brilliance that he has. But this is different. You know, Seth isn't funny in this film. He's extremely sincere, really very touching, and fascinating to see him play something so different. Well, we're all used to a certain degree of improvising or changing things up or just mixing a few words around to just make them feel a little bit more comfortable or natural to say. But, you know, Aaron Sorkin writes it in a way that is natural, does sound as though you're improvising, and as though these characters are coming up with these thoughts in that moment. And that's what makes Aaron Sorkin Aaron Sorkin. Somehow, yes, it's about Steve Jobs, but it's also rather brilliantly about how we all now live our lives because of that brilliant man. And one can't help but feel tremendous admiration for Steve, and also a certain degree of gratitude as well that he was as brilliant as he was, because he has enforced how we communicate today. And you know, if used correctly, there's something just brilliant about that.